Hello, everyone. Welcome again to this new session. Last time we talked about how we were able to load the data from Redshift into Power BI. In today's session, we'll look at how we can perform that transformation in a much easier manner and much modular manner, and then load in more data. Okay, so how we want to try and do is that we have the July data, we need to load August and September, and we need to make it in such a way that we can always be able to load more data as needed. Okay, so with that, we go back to our platform. So let's look at the data again. If you look at the same data we have in gold, it works quite well. It's just July data. We can see it's only July. We have some June data there, but they're just outliers. So now we need to load August data. How do we do that? Okay, now let's go back here. So we'll have to break this into multiple sessions. Just follow along. So remember, we had to work on this file, and this is this is what we did, right? So just to recap, so we ran this code to be able to authenticate and so that Databricks can talk to S3, right? So the first thing that we have to do is that we need to load the data first of all so let's first load the data. Okay, so when you come back to S3, all right, let's come back to S3. Oh, we do have some data, so I'm actually going to delete some of, I think I did that already. So August, so let's delete this data because we need to now ingest it, so I can show you how to do that. Okay, so permanently delete. All right, okay, so let's go back here. So we only have July data, which you were aware from the previous video how we did that. Okay, now let's look at weather data as well. I think I went ahead and did that as well. Okay, I have to delete this as well. Okay, so I can show you how I would typically add more data. Okay, now so having done this, so that means we just where we were. All right, okay, so basically what we're then gonna do right now is that we just give me a second, we then have to load in the weather data again for August as well as the trip data for August. So the first thing we're gonna do is let's do the trip data first. So let me pull that up somewhere here. Okay, beautiful. So we have the trip data, right? So let's look at here. We have the trip data, the August data. So let's download it. It's just going to download, and then once it's downloaded, we will go to our landing, go to New York City, weather 2005, and then we need to create, this folder. We call it 08, create folder. All right, and then we can load our data here, right? Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to do that in the trip data. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to delete this again. All right, so let's delete that. Okay, let's come back here. So we want to load in the text data. Okay, so we need to create a folder here. We call it 08. All right, so we create folder. So we have July data here, so we just need to push in our August data. Okay, so I have it downloaded in some way on my other screen, so I'm just going to pull that over. Okay, I'm going to pull that over, and then we're just going to upload. Let's do that, upload. So we should, once it's uploaded successfully, we should have our folder. Yeah, so we should have our file here. So we're just going to rename it because it wasn't named properly for my own local computer. Yours may be right, but because I've had another file on that folder, so I just name it 2, right? So let's quickly do this. All right, beautiful. You can see now I have my file. That's great. So we did the text data. All right, so then we're gonna go to, remember we used lambda. All right, so we're gonna go back to our lambda. All right, so this is the one we used the last time, and we're just gonna update the code. We're gonna update the code so it's reference August. Okay, so now let's go back here. Let's see. Now I've went ahead to change it to August, but it was 7 before. All you just need to do is to change it to August. Change this to August, and then the month, the days, you see August ended at 31, so just be sure about that. And once you have done the changes, you deploy here, you deploy your code, and then you can then run the test, and we should have data in that file. Yes, that's all you need to do, because we parameterize this code very well, so there is nothing additional you need to do. I will share the code with you. Let me run it again. It timed out here, so let's run this code again, and it's successful. All right, so with that, we're gonna go back and check our S3 to double check that we have the file. Okay, beautiful. Let's see, landing New York City weather. We should have, oh beautiful, we have a new file and we have this, right? So this is what we expect. Okay, we can actually go ahead and complete this task for 09 as well, or September. Let's do that as well together here. So let's start with the lambda this time around. That's the weather data, and then we're gonna run that again. Okay, so let's change that to now. I think September ends, day is 30th, right? Yeah, 30th. So we're just going to update the code here, change this to 9, and change this as well to 9, and then we're just going to update this to 30, and that's all we need to do. We'll deploy our code. All right, and then we run this. It should pull in the September data. Let's run it again. Okay, successful. Let's check. Check S3. Right. And then when you come to landing, New York City, weather 2005, beautiful. Now we have our September data. Let's do the same thing for the trip data. I'm gonna pull that up. So we have September. We're just gonna download that, and then we're gonna wait for it to download, and then we come back here, TechZ 2005, and then we create a new folder. We call it 09. Create folder. Then we can drop in our file. So let me see if I get 09. Okay, so I have 09. I'm gonna drop it here. Beautiful. We upload, and then wait for it to completely upload that file. All right, so that's it. Okay, so let's go back here, and then we have our file. We just need to rename it, similar to what we did before. Rename object, and then we just let's go ahead and rename, save, and beautiful. We have our file, right? Okay, so that's how we would add in more data from the ingestion perspective, from ingesting from the production data or from external source. That's how you would do that. All right, that's a good place for us to stop. In the next episode, we'll then see how we can then go through. Let me just quickly show you that. You remember we've added in more data here, how we can then be able to do this in a seamless manner, okay, such a way that we can easily add more data to our bronze, to our silver, and then to our gold. I will show you that in the next video. All right, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.